I want to start today's video by wishing you a very happy new year, 2024. I hope it brings you joy, prosperity, and fingers crossed, it's a good one for the Star Wars franchise. And today, we begin with some very exciting news. John Williams needs no introduction. He's often described as the heart of the Star Wars franchise, having composed all 9 films of the Skywalker saga, the iconic and unforgettable musical score. He also returned for the Kenobi show, and for a brief moment, he decided he was going to retire, and then very quickly reversed that decision, and now he's doubled down, not only saying he wants to do more films, but it sounds to me like there's a very good chance he's been approached for the 2026 Charmin Obi-Chanoy Rey movie, which is set to begin production sometime this spring. And as you're going to see in just a moment, we have very good reason to believe he is coming back, which could be excellent. Whenever I talk about the Rey movie, and there have been a number of updates over the last few months, fans seem pretty apathetic. Many don't care, but regardless of your thoughts of Rey as a character, Rey's theme, and the themes of the sequel trilogy, were still brilliant. John Williams never missed. You could argue the original trilogy soundtrack and the prequels are better, but I would argue all 3 trilogies, musically speaking, are just some of the best compositions in musical cinema history, and Williams has been there from the start. Now remember when I said we have good reason to believe he is going to return for the Rey film? That's because he is a massive Rey fan. Back in 2016, between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, he stated he doesn't want any other composer writing music for the character of Rey. It was his new favourite from the new trilogy, and so I'd imagine he's already been approached. And as I say, Rey's theme is heartwarming, so to hear new versions and iterations of it will be a treat, expanding upon that original motif. He is also enamored by Daisy. She's a very sweet person, and so is he. There was a collaborative process, especially for the Rise of Skywalker if you watch the behind the scenes. The Times say this, and here is the quote from John: "If a film came along that I was greatly interested in, with a schedule that I could cope with, I wouldn't want to rule anything out. Everything is possible." Now some Star Wars fans have taken it upon themselves to be rather speculative, but also reading between the lines. He says if a film came along, recent composers like Göransson, Joseph Shirley, Nicholas Brittle, and others have been truly top-notch. But when we're talking about Star Wars on the big screen, connecting it to the saga, in my opinion you have to have Williams, especially if the upcoming film is an iteration of what would be Episode 10. As I said before, Episode 10, all but in name. So this could be a very exciting update indeed. I hope he does come back. And apart from Rey's theme, the Force theme, we're dealing with Rey's Jedi Academy. Of course you have to have those themes. The man is an absolute gem, and I'm amazed he still wants to keep going. The music calls to him, it lives in him, it's a part of him. Really awesome stuff. And did you guys know, across the entirety of the 9 films, John Williams has scored nearly 20 hours of music. That is an estimate of 70 themes. Incredible. Some of the best music ever put to the big screen. And just while we're on the subject of the Rey movie, Kathleen Kennedy back at Star Wars Celebration teased something very interesting, something I kind of want to get your opinion on. She said there was going to be a connection between the Rey film and the one by James Mangold. Now, obviously, they take place at opposing ends of the Star Wars timeline. The Rey movie is 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker, whereas James Mangold's film is all the way at the beginning, the Dawn of the Jedi, 25,000 years before the start of the original trilogy. So, what is this connective tissue? How can they even relate? Well, I thought of a couple of things, and then I want to give you one which you might find very intriguing. So, put yourself in the mindset of Rey. In this movie, the Jedi are gone. Supposedly for now the Sith are gone too, but she's going to have to rebuild from scratch. So similar to the Dawn of the Jedi, where the first Jedi, in this case the Prime Jedi, is the foundation of the new order, and both Rey and this Prime Jedi have a similar task in their respective times, having to organise founding principles, rules, and something I'm excited about, finding other Force sensitives, other Force users, training them, the toil, the struggles that comes with this reset, because that is what it basically is. But it also dawned on me there might be another connection too, a specific planet that I think was one of the most gorgeous in the entirety of the sequel trilogy, Arcto. In Legends they had Tython as the first planet the Jedi started on, but in canon the Prime Jedi founded the first Jedi Temple, where Luke went in exile, on Arcto. And because Rey trained there in Episode 8, Are we going to go back there in the Rey movie? Could that be where she decides to rebuild this order? In the next year or so, if we do hear about filming in Ireland, then that, in my opinion, is a huge indicator they're going back to Skellig Michael. And the interesting thing about Ahch-To is that it's a symbol of Luke's failure, his exile. Rey going back there could be symbolic of rewriting the course, making it be associated with a positive thing for the Jedi. And out of universe, it could be Lucasfilm's way of saying, we understand how fans felt about the sequel trilogy, and now they're trying to mend things. And with a bit of luck, give us a very well written story. There are so many Star Wars fans who have not gotten over the sequels, who feel as though they did damage to the brand, and so they really can't mess this one up. Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's Rey movie is already one where we're questioning, is it going to get many eyeballs? Is it going to get Star Wars fans back in the cinema? But is it going to, quote, salvage 7, 8 and 9? I do believe a lot is riding on it. And Rey is following that lineage. That is something Kathleen Kennedy said. So it makes sense that Rey wants to kind of rebuild on the planet so heavily associated with one of her master's grief and sadness. She might decide to pick up the pieces of the Order there. It's really well isolated as well, so that students can focus on their Jedi training. In so many visual guides, it's likened to Dagobah and Mortis, where the world shared a mysterious time-related quality of vergence in the Force. It's also very cinematic. Now we're going to return to the Ahch-To stuff at the end of the video. But another big question for the movie that many of us have is if they do decide to turn it into another Star Wars trilogy, which Daisy Ridley did hint at near the end of 2023, how do they distinguish it from the sequel trilogy? And in what ways is it going to move Star Wars in a new direction? Because while familiar planets, characters, and classic themes are a great way to appeal to nostalgia, I'd prefer it if Lucasfilm stayed true to their word when they said Episode 9 was the end of the Skywalker saga, and it's time for them to go in an entirely new direction with what the galaxy is facing after Episode 9. We don't need another Empire, we don't need another rebellion, we don't need another First Order or Final Order, and the classic Imperial versus Rebel fight. I prefer something very different, even if it is a bit strange and unique. I'm talking about dark side cultists, weird Force groups, factions which emerge from older groups, something different the Jedi have to contend with. That would be way more exciting in my estimation. And so just to finish off, in my Star Wars Meg 2023 holiday special, I asked my guests, what do they think about the possibility of Ahch-To, and what do they think the Rey film should do? Here it is, enjoy.
Probably. I would almost say probably it's a give. And I think that the natural connection is the first Jedi movie will be about how do we get these disparate weirdos that have this power into an order. And then that's what Rey's doing too, right? So I think it would kind of go without saying that if that's how it would work. However, if I was making a Star Wars film today, Ahch-To makes sense. And it seems like it would be a given that you would go there. But I would think that certain art directors and so on would be like, let's do something else. But at the same time, that's a whole world that you could, I mean, we've only seen this little island in this place, and you know, there could be all kinds of weird things going on there that we haven't dreamed up. So maybe they will like find a way to rejuvenate it and make it fresher.
Right. When Meg was talking about, you know, what might bring people out, you know, Ahch-To Island, the Rey movie and all that, what goes through my mind is somehow they better put Grogu in it. Not that I want them to put Grogu in it, because I'm in the over Grogu'd camp. Yeah. Right. But today, when I think about a lot of the mainstream conversations I have with people who enjoy consuming Star Wars content, or even if I'm out and about and see many times the limited merchandise which is available, whether I'm in a Disney park or whether I'm in Target, right? You're always stumbling over Grogu something, right? Yeah. So I also feel like a lot of people do these days associate Star Wars with The Mandalorian and with Grogu or Baby Yoda specifically, right? And so that's where I'm like, and I know some of it's recency bias, right? But I think a lot more people may make that association right now than they do with anything that's purely sequel trilogy focused, especially around Rey.
I hope you all have an amazing day, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.